Reference values or normal values. Many laboratories like to include their reference values in the test protocols. This makes it easy to identify abnormalities while testing, to highlight abnormalities in the report, and to generate automatic summary. The normal values can be defined in many different ways. A simple strategy is to define the upper limit or the lower limit. Another strategy is to define the range, which includes an upper as well as lower limit. A third strategy is to define normal values based upon the mean value and standard deviation measurements made from healthy subjects. Another method is to define normal values based upon the patient demographics. So the normal limit will be based upon the patient's age, height, etc. All of these modalities are possible in the software. But most of the laboratories rely upon a single number as the upper or lower normal limit. And that's the strategy I'm going to demonstrate in this video. I will use the ulnar motor nerve conduction study as an example, but the procedure will be the same for other nerve conduction studies and other protocols. Click on the number or the hash sign in the result table. You can see two tables. The top one is for the stimulation sites and the bottom one is for the velocity segments. The last column in each table is for reference values. To input reference values for wrist stimulation, click in the reference values column in the corresponding row. We have two columns, one for latency and one for amplitude. To define a constant upper or lower normal limit, we are going to use the first row in this table, which is also labeled constant. So if the upper limit of latency is 3.5, click in that row and put the desired value. Similarly, we can put reference values for amplitude. Upon making the change, click on the OK button. Because of the limitation on the resolution in making this video, you cannot see the OK button, but when you try to configure values on your systems, you will be able to see the OK button. One can similarly change the limits for velocity. So for inputting the lower normal limit for velocity, for the segment defined by the below elbow and wrist segment, click in the corresponding row in the last column. As before, click in the constant box and change the limit as appropriate. This is indeed a very simple strategy for inputting reference values. Reference values do depend upon age, and there are some laboratories that like to divide the patients into two groups, typically the old and the young ones. It is possible to create normal values by different age groups. So I will illustrate this using the velocity normal limit as an example. Once again, click into the reference values column. And now to create normal values based on age, we will click in the top cell below the column label. We are going to use the age group, so I will uncheck. And this is going to be from age 20 to say 59. If one wanted, one could also include the gender in defining reference values, and I'm going to click on OK. So for the age group of 20 to 59, my limit, I'm going to change it to 51. I want to make another age group, so I will click into the age group box, create a new one, include age, and let's say this is going to be from 60 to 79. Click on OK. Notice we have another column for velocity measurements, and perhaps I can define the limit as 48. So in this manner, one can create multiple age group specific normative values. Having made the change, click on the OK button. One can similarly create age matched normative values for latency and amplitude. Having created the change, again click on the OK button. And to make the change permanent, click on File and then on Save Test and Protocol. This will save the change in the normal values for the currently selected nerve. Repeat this process for other nerve conduction studies and protocols.